So what is the income support scheme for the self-employed because of coronavirus, which has been set up by the government? Can you apply for it? Are you eligible? What is the process? Watch the video as I describe all of the details. So self-employed people, listen to this very, very carefully. This is from the government website. It says your self-employment. Now do note straight away on your tax return, it will say self-employment income. If you have property income, employment income, ignore that. Okay, just ignore that. It's just looking at that line, self-employment income. It's not looking at anything else. If you are a property investor, then you'll be filling in pages for the property income, not the self-employed. So you cannot get this grant if you're a full-time property investor. You can only get this if your line on your tax return says self-employment and then a number next to it. Going on from that, the profits must be less than £50,000 per annum. If your profits in any of the last 3 years are exceeding £50,000, I do not think you are one. The government have said you will not get this grant. So if you've got profits in excess of £50,000, you will not get this grant in the way it's intended. Okay, that's interesting because as an employer, you could be £100,000 earner, but you still get this 2,500, but not if you're self-employed. Wow, that's almost bordering on discrimination, right? So I was really interested enough that your profits must be lower than £50,000 for you to get it. Additionally, on your tax return, you have property income, employment income, savings income, self-employment income. Now that self-employment income must be 50% or more of the total income on your tax return. If it's not, you will not get this grant. Okay. So we've got a double whammy here. If you've got profits over £50,000 or your self-employment income is not more than 50% of your whole taxable income, you will not get this grant. Plain and simple. You must be in business in the year, this should say, must be in business in the year 2019-20. Sorry, that's my typo error. I was doing this last night. So must be in business in year 2019/20, but trade lost must be caused. So I'll restate because when I read that just now, it didn't make any sense at all. It wouldn't make sense to you. So let me try and get myself out of this hole I have just created. So you must be in business in the year 2019-20, but your business is now ceased because of COVID-19. So someone who said earlier that they're a landscape gardener, the question is, well, the government have said, is it critical? Well, gardening really isn't critical, is it? I mean, we might have long grass and whatever else problems for the future. And to be fair, that's not critical. So from that side of things, you could justify that your income has dropped as a result of COVID-19. Now, if your profit is below £50,000 and your total income is self-employment income is more than 50% of your total income, then the person who said that they're a landscape gardener could claim this as a self-employed person. Now, the last point on this, which is a lot of detail, and that's why I want to take my time to go over it, and I will head off to the Q&A section straight after. 80% of the average last 3 years will be paid. So if you've got profits of 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, that means that they will pay you a prorated base of £8,000 because it's 80% of the profit of the average. Now, if you've got a situation whereby your self-employment income is 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, you've still got to take an average of that, which is £20,000. So if you've got a growing business, you're almost going to have to average, which is a lower rate than what you've done last year. So if your lifestyle is now based on the increased amount of profits as a self-employed person, well, you are now only going to get 80% of the average, which means you're going to get a lot less money. Now, This could be quite advantageous for those people who have got a declining self-employment business. Let's imagine that you've got year one, going back, this is the first year of this averaging is £30,000, the second year is £20,000, the third year is £10,000. Well, your lifestyle probably is going down because your income is going down. Maybe you're in retirement or something like that, or you've had a bad run of things. But with this, you will still get 80% of the £20,000 because it's looking at the average of the 3 years. But it is only 80% of those 3 years. And that money, again, will be applied. Now, here's the crux. Can I get it? Am I eligible? What communication will be sent out? Well, here is again from HMRC on the government's website. HMRC will automatically notify you. So they know on your tax return whether you've had 50% of income on your self-employment. They already know this. So they will do the mathematics behind the scenes and then send you a letter to say this is the case. They'll also look at, they say, well, hold on a minute, you've been self-employed. We already know the averaging of your 3 years. It is not something you can say to them, well, I know I've got a forecast for £50,000. Can I apply that? The answer is no, because they already know the self-employment income line on your tax return, and they know if it's 50% more of your total income, and they know retrospectively of your 3 years. They can do the mathematics themselves. So as a result of that, they, HMRC, will notify you whether or not you can apply for this grant funding. If, and this is on HMRC and government website, if you call them, it will delay the process for everyone else. So people are going to be worried, scared, frightened, because they're not sure what the government's response will be for their particular situation. And my answer to that is, don't call them, because you won't get through. They will have someone on the end of the line saying, I don't know. And therefore you will have to wait for confirmation. So you'll just be hitting your head against the wall. You'll be waiting maybe 45 to an hour and a half on the phone, desperate to find an answer from HMRC. And they will not be able to give you one. So if you are a self-employed person with profits of less than £50,000 and majority of your income is from self-employment income on your tax return, then that profit will be identified to HMRC and they will notify you by letter that you can apply for this grant. You will have to apply within the portal. So even though they send you a letter, you have now still got to do a manual application. So even though they know all this information, they will still give you an application. And why is that? Well, simply put, they know your financial information. They know if they know if your profit is less than £50,000 as a self-employed person. They also know the averaging of your 3 years profits to give you 80% of the average. What they don't know is, has COVID-19 stopped you from working as a self-employed person? And that is why there is an application process. You have to tell them that my business has stopped. I'm not earning any income whatsoever because of COVID-19. And that is when you can then apply for this grant. Now, please do note that they make monthly claims from the 1st of March to the 30th of June. So again, it is looking at that period of time between those 4 months. They do say 3 months all the way through the website, but it's technically 4. Well, why not book a call with me, Simon Misiewicz, your Finance Tax Director, for at least an hour to understand how we can help you grow your business without paying the tax.